some updates from the Open Data Hub. As last year, every Open Data Hub day, we want to provide some updates, what has been done in the year between the Open Data Hub days. And one thing I would like to communicate to all of you is that we as Neue Tech Park have created a new specialization strategy, which is a strategy we created together with all the actors we have at the Neue Tech Park, which are more than 100 startups, companies, research organizations, and we are as a community working towards this specialization to implement a strategy for green, food and health, automotive automation, and digital. And as you can see in the digital technology sector, we have 3 specialization areas, and the central area is the Open Data Hub. Because the Open Data Hub is the platform which enables us to give access and to share data, but not only data, also knowledge. It's very much about community building. It's about that you as experts get in touch with others interested in data spaces and work together. And the next step is to share also access to algorithms. So algorithms as a service is one of the topics we are working on, so you can reuse also algorithms through the Open Data Hub. So for those who are new in the Open Data Hub community, a little bit an introduction. How does the Open Data Hub work? So it's mainly just the layer which connects who has data with those who are looking for data. So in this diagram, we see at the bottom, we see the data providers. These are organizations, public or private organizations who have data and provide this data, and on top we have the data consumers. So these are startups, companies, students, researchers who are implementing websites, applications, you name it, using the data. Through this unified API, simplified API, we try to provide the data through open standards every time it is possible to do it. And as mentioned by Vincent before, we are active on 3 data spaces already. In 2010, we started the mobility data space, so this was the beginning. Then in 2016, we added the tourism data space, and now we are working on the agriculture. We are kickstarting the agriculture data space. So the Open Data Hub is a platform where we can activate data spaces. The 3 services we provide as Open Data Hub is access to data, so data access for data consumers, data sharing for data providers who want to share their data, and some support in data visualization. I will go a little bit more in detail now. On the data access side, so data consumers want high quality, real-time and machine-readable data. Only this data, it's a selection of data, gets provided, and it is growing. We have already more than 150 applications and websites using the Open Data Hub as their backend to get data. We handle at the moment more than 18 million requests every month, so we have a validation of the scalability. And on the data sharing side, where data providers provide their data, often mainly to get more visibility for their services they are providing. So showing the data attracts companies to their core businesses, to their core service. I added this slide to remind you that we handle also non-open data, because we have seen that one of our missions is to support data providers, companies, organizations who have data to step by step implement their open data strategy. It's not something an organization can do in one single step to open up data to the world. So what we can do with the Open Data Hub is to provide an authentication and authorization mechanism which is federated with organizations like the Free University of Bolzano or EURAC. So all researchers, all students have already an account on the Open Data Hub. It's federated also with the first companies like I see Janovis here in Neue Tech Park. So who works for Janovis has already an account on the Open Data Hub. And so who provides data can activate the data only for single users and have a closed ecosystem to start with, and then decide which of the data they are sharing should be open for the world, applying an open data license. Once the open data license is connected, automatically the data will be visible also for non-registered users. And one topic is very important, data freshness. So we want real-time data as possible. At the moment, we are handling 3 million data updates per day. So every day we get from our data providers fresh data. So we are handling more than 3 million updates of the data in the Open Data Hub every day and can provide this freshness to the data consumers. On the data visualization side, we figured years ago that if we expose only APIs, it's very nice for developers, but nobody else will understand what the data is about. And we started the Web Components project. So we provide widgets, and here I would like to thank a lot of companies, developers here in the room who are developing widgets, developing web components and sharing them on the opendatahub.com website with others. So who wants to integrate data can use this visualization and just integrate it in their own website or application. This is something we have seen works very, very well. Today, after the coffee break, you will get a presentation of the Data Browser 2.0, so the new browser for the data where users can browse the data and also edit some of the data if the data provider is ready to get also editing of the data itself. And just as a reminder, on analytics.opendatahub.com, you find information about IoT data, so sensor data. You see where the sensors are and also the history of the time series handled by this data. As last point, I would like just to bring up a topic which is very important for our strategy, the strategy 2030 of Neue Tech Park and therefore also of the Open Data Hub. So Open Data Hub goes Europe. We have changed the domain. So who has been in the community longer knows that before we had another domain. We have the policy we don't name it anymore. So the domain is opendatahub.com, the .com to show the international view of the Open Data Hub. It's not a hub managing data only locally, but it wants and it has to manage data on a European scale. And if we go on analytics, we see the first results. We see that thanks to a collaboration with Austria and Germany, so we have a collaboration now activated with Data Hub Tirol, which is managed by Standortagentur Tirol. Thanks to the representatives here in the audience, and thanks also to Bayern Tourism Marketing, who have connected to us the Bayern Cloud Tourism. We have now data also from Austria and Germany. So all the startups, all the companies, all the researchers connected to the Open Data Hub transparently can use also data from other regions in Europe. And so we start to implement the vision of data spaces, European data spaces, through the Open Data Hub.